My check, my check, my check, my check, my check. My check. Peace, 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 peace. Salute. Salutations to all. And unfortunately, I am here to talk about another bout of injustice. This time it's close to home. On Sunday, which was 2 days earlier from today, on June 14th, a young black child was unalived after Senatobia, Mississippi police officers fired into a moving car and unaliving and injuring the driver. Officers who had been responding to a call alleging that someone had tried to steal a box of Pampers. Let me repeat that. Officers who had been responding to a call alleging that someone had tried to steal a box of Pampers, claimed that the car was driving toward the officer when he fired. A claim that some witnesses have disputed. So, y'all, I'm not going to even read the rest of this article. It goes into how people are taking action right now in front of the Senatobia Walmart. I'm going to break it down because I've, read it and I have enough information to break it down. Y'all can find the articles, around this happened in Senatobia, Mississippi. 1 year old Cohen Wiley was unalive. What apparently happened was they got the officers saw, they got a call that there was some shoplifting. It was two women, two young black women, one holding the Pampers and one holding young Cohen Wiley. They walked out of the Walmart. They went to the vehicle. They fired it up. What I mean is like they crunked their car and proceeded to drive off. The police, Senatobia police, then jumped into their car and, like as the women and the baby were on their way out, they stated that the women drove towards them and then the officers fired into the car. So let's start here. The officers saw the baby before they jumped into the car. The officers knew that the baby was in the car. The officers knew that the baby was in the car. Okay? And I don't know where our compassion is. I don't know because it's not for sure whether or not they actually stole the Pampers. It's not verified whether they stole the Pampers or not. However, a box of Pampers costs $50. A big box of Pampers costs you $50, right? $50. These were two black women and a young black baby, Cohen, rest in peace, Cohen Wiley. So I don't know. I've never heard in history where officers jump in a car and they chase after a box of Pampers. This is what we have here, people. We have officers jumping into a car to chase after a box of Pampers that they allege that one of these women shoplift out of the Walmart. They also saw the child before they jumped into their car and before they fired into the car. This is this situation now. I just want y'all to be clear. That's why I'm breaking it down this way. For a $50 box of Pampers, they have spent more money. Right now at the Senatobia Walmart, where protesters from the community are out there. And let me just tell you, Senatobia is about 40 minutes from Memphis, Tennessee, but it's in Mississippi. It's at the border of both states. I mean, it's right there, at both states. It's in Mississippi, however, it's right there 40 minutes from Memphis, Tennessee. I think that they could have put out a bucket on the outside of Walmart. I think that these cops could have spent less time, less money digging into their own pockets or asking for change from the Walmart for a box of Pampers. For a box of Pampers for a baby. Because in my mind, I'm like, if they shoplift a box of Pampers alone, then they needed them, right? They needed these Pampers. But it's not, confirmed that they actually shoplift them. But if they did, they needed these Pampers. Now, what should have happened, once again, since they want to say what should have happened with the Carmela Anthony case, what should have happened is Walmart take a picture, perhaps, and the next time that these ladies try to come back into the Walmart, or the next time, they, like they do in most cases, they then arrest or ask them to leave or ban them from the Walmart. We've heard so many situations of people getting banned from the Walmart or all Walmarts or whatever, right? Over $50. A box of Pampers, y'all, over a box of Pampers. That's what should have taken place, because for officers to jump into a car and chase them down over a box of Pampers is crazy to me. It's really crazy. And at this point, it is costing the taxpayers of Mississippi a lot of money to fly that helicopter over to Walmart because of the protesters. They're having a peaceful protest. I've watched it outside of that Senatobia Walmart. Mississippi is a family-oriented place. Yes, that small community in Senatobia is in an uproar. A lot of those people probably knew Cohen Wiley. A lot of those people have children and grandchildren. There's a lot of concern over why police would jump in a car and fire at a vehicle when they know a baby, a 1-year-old, is in there. And still today, they have not released the video footage because they're claiming. Now, it was two women and a baby. Two women and young Cohen Wiley. The driver, the driver was, of course, driving, and the mother of the baby had the baby in her arms, on the passenger seat. She had the baby in her arms, and she stated when she saw the police, she held the baby up, trying to let them know that she had a baby in her arms. She held the baby up to let them know that she had a baby in her arms, and they proceeded to fire. Yet they're saying that the driver who was driving while they were chasing and the mother who had the baby in her arms, they're saying that one of those people fired at them. Or, one of them people held up, a weapon and fired at them. How does that happen? Here we go again with stuff not making sense. It doesn't make sense. It's not adding up. So the community and the mother of the child is asking, my bad, them to simply release the video footage. Release the video footage, because the other woman, the driver, got struck. The driver did get struck. The only person that didn't get harmed was the mother, and the baby was unalive. But they're asking to release the video footage. However, they refuse to. They're talking about it's under investigation. And, me, I'm talking about it's common sense. Like, who does that? Who chases somebody down over a box of Pampers? But at any rate, because Walmart is not a assured grocery chain, a corporation. They can write the box of Pampers off on their insurance. However, because of a box of Pampers that they allege, because it hasn't been confirmed, but they allege that was stolen or lifted, we have a unalived 1-year-old baby. Cohen Wiley. And as I was watching the news coverage on ABC 24, they're out there throwing tear gas at people. Like, there are news reporters in the crowd. There are a lot of older people, a lot of women. There are a lot of, and they were peaceful. They were doing their speeches and they were just saying, don't spend any money at the Walmart. Of course, nobody can go in the store because they have a line of officers inside and outside of the store. You would think this was an ICE protest. You would think that when I looked at that, I saw an ICE protest. I saw LA. Yet I saw everybody just around in their little circles talking. I didn't see anybody, any, wild activity. Everybody's just out there demanding answers. What they want is answers. They want to know whether that police officer has lost his job. They want to know what's next. They want to know what happened. They want answers. They're not trying to merge or push their way into the Walmart or anything like that. They're feet, my bad, I said feet, but they're feet away from the Walmart. Then, after a while, they pushed them because they were right there at, like, Walmart entrance. They were right there at the edge of the person that was speaking was at the edge of, the sidewalk where you go into the store. So they pushed them away from the sidewalk and they were further out. And then I think they were at first at the police department. They tried to run them off from there. All of this because the community wants answers. The community is feeling unsafe because they want to know why police officers were chasing down a box of Pampers and unalive young 1-year-old Cohen Wiley. It's unjust all the way around. So you mean to tell me we're boycotting Target and now we got to boycott Walmart as well? Because this should be a nationwide thing. Because within the last, couple of months, we've lost from teenagers to children, either to the system or by the hands of injustice. Y'all, it is time to stand because it appears that, they're trying to wipe us out. At least, especially the youth. It appears, and when I say stand, I'm not talking about you don't do criminal acts because that's what they want you to do. You stand by keeping Cohen Wiley's name ringing through the media because they're trying to quiet this story down, right? They don't want it to make nationwide attention. Now, Ben Crump is already on the scene, but they're trying to quiet this story down. They don't want the nationwide attention. We need to keep these peoples who have been unjustly treated names ringing through all social medias throughout the streets forever until we receive justice. We need some laws change. We need some stuff change because it doesn't make any sense for us as people to be getting targeted like this. And then it always wants to flip around because a box of Pampers, a bottle of water, a bottle of water, and a box of Pampers. Y'all, come on now. If anything, you see people in need, you should help. If anything, these corporations and these different people, instead of worried about tax cuts, because tax cuts, they're getting major tax cuts from the administration right now. So if anything, they should be helping the communities in which they wouldn't be rich without us. Keep in mind, we are some of the number one consumers. The Black community is amongst number one consumers. So they wouldn't be rich without us. Well, they might, but they're richer, or they get rich behind us. Well, no, I take that back. They're rich because of us. Because even if you want to go like Jim Crow and all of these different things, they're rich because of us. They owe us. But at any rate, let's not let people run out here, especially self-hating Black people. Let's not let people run out here and twist this thing around as they normally do to try to justify, injustice and, like people taking the lives of black people. Let's not let that happen. All because they might be getting a few pennies thrown at them, a few cookies thrown at them temporarily. Because trust, just like in the movie The Django, Samuel L. Jackson, their day too will come. You got to remember, they ain't looking at one person like this. They might tell you, "Oh, you're a good one. You're one of the good ones." But they don't really believe that. That's because they need to utilize you now. That's because they need to use you right now. And they know that you're not one of the smart ones. They know that you're not one of the smart ones. It's sad though, because they think, "Oh, I'm better. I'm smarter. Oh, this." No, 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 no. You're being utilized. You're that what black token, that one person, like to say that, they aren't racist, to say I got a black friend. That's you. That's you. And I'm all people that are non-black are not racist. Yeah, I know what I'm talking. But we know the ones, especially the ones who are MAGA, conservative, and black conservatives are just as worse as the regular conservatives. Republican, they got an agenda going on right now, and just watch. But y'all, it's our duty to fight for our rights, because we have a right for our rights. We have more rights than most of them. So don't sit down. Don't be stupid either. But don't sit down. We gotta, we gotta, we gotta pull from the spirit of Martin Luther King. We gotta, cause y'all like wanted to talk about Martin Luther King, but guess what? Martin Luther King produced results, more results than we have recently, since y'all been talking about that. And they want you to be unpeaceful. You know why? They're not throwing tear gas for nothing. Why are you throwing tear gas on people? And you got children out there too at a Walmart. They're not trying to break in the store or loot or anything like that. But you're out there throwing tear gas. So that should tell you something. We have to go. Martin Luther King was smart after all. He did get things produced. So we got to pull back from there. We ain't finished fighting. We've let some of these people uh, uh, detract us. We've let some of these people make us feel like what our ancestors did wasn't good enough, like fighting for our voting rights. And we got to vote. We have to vote. We have to serve jury duty. We have to do our census. The census are how funds are allocated amongst communities. So we have our duty as well, and it's time for us to stand up and do our duty. Our ancestors fought for it. We need y'all to stop laying down and sitting down and bending over, and stand up. Go get registered to vote. Because this is what a lot of this stuff is all about. It's a political agenda taking place. A political agenda. They're going to be on, because they want to divide and conquer. The whole thing is to divide and conquer. Divide, because they already got us divided by religion, divided by so many different things. We got to put all that stuff aside. Divided by the LGBTQIA community, divided by, what else are they out there talking about? But they got us divided. Divided by male versus female. We got to put that stuff aside and realize that together we stand, divided we fall. That's for real. And that's not a new statement. Together we stand, divided we fall. It's that time, y'all. Y'all better pay attention. And stop trying to be number one, because you're no better or no different from anybody else. In fact, if you believe in God, you believe in a God, you believe in any type of religion, then first of all, God didn't put nothing here for nobody to hoard, be greedy about. God didn't put people, we're on earth. God didn't put us on earth for us to be mistreated. God didn't say that certain groups of people are better than certain groups of people. These men did. And a lot of this is manipulation and indoctrination, mind games. And let's not fall for the gaslighting. We're too smart and have come too far to turn back now. It's, like I said, that's not a new statement. I was gonna say something else, but I'm just repeating a lot of the things that our ancestors said. I was gonna say something different, but I guess the ancestors told me to go ahead and say it. Because I've heard that before. We've come too far to turn back now. That's even a gospel song. Y'all better stand up. Y'all better stop trying to act like you better than your own family, your own bloodline, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles. Because sometimes these are distant cousins that you don't know. Because everybody don't know their genealogy. That could be one of your family members, distant family members. And we're only as strong as our weakest link. If somebody is hungry, then we have to help people. We got to start helping people. We got to stop acting like, oh, well, welfare. We're not number one on welfare or none of that stuff. But if people need help, we got to do like they used to do back in the day. If a family needed help, the whole community would raise money or get some food together or something like that and go help. We got to get back to that. We got to get back to family reunions. And then we got to get back to each one, teach one, and it takes a whole village to raise a child. But that's all I got to say. And I'm not finished with Carmela Anthony either. I'm going to talk about this stuff until we see justice. Because they don't like to hear when they're wrong. And don't let them manipulate you to feel like to project. Because in the Carmelo Anthony case, all it is a bunch of projection. Like what they're saying about the Anthony family and Carmelo actually applies to the Metcalfs. Projection. So I didn't mean to come on here and preach. I just got a little passionate. If you know me, you know I get passionate. But at any rate, I'm about to exit. I'm probably going to come back on a little later with some more coverage. But I just had to get this out here. The more the merrier. If you're a content creator, by all means, talk about it. We need to start keeping social media algorithms flooded with this kind of stuff. We need to make sure that the nation and the planet is aware of like what's happening, because they like to paint us as the bad people. So we have to get our truth out here. No more saying it didn't happen to me. It ain't me. It ain't my family. Yes, it is. It's just indirectly at this time. But one day one day your day too could come. And what you want, you're going to want help. You're going to want people to stand on your behalf. Oh, they didn't help me. They didn't help you because you didn't help nobody. You can't expect out of others what you are not willing to give. But like I said, I'm not going to turn this too preachy. That's all I really wanted to say. And, I'm going to go ahead and get out off of here. Y'all smash that like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, it is unapologetically QI exiting the building. Peace, love, and all that good stuff. And I am out.